my personal views are that, leadership requires empathy, authenticity, a willingness to, be in it together, get your hands dirty. You really can't lead from above. It doesn't work.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of, real effective leadership, in my view, is, when you are listening, you're in something together, you've been there together, and frankly, you're willing to be wrong. You're willing to accept that part of, building and leading a team is to get the best out of those people. And frankly, if you're doing it right, you've also hired people who are the best. And if you're really doing it right, they're better than you are. So you got to listen. And if you've hired great people, then learning from each other ought to be the modus operandi. I've never been a big believer of the command and control, lead from the top. I think it's important for leaders to be role models, to demonstrate that they care. But I think confidence at all costs is all wrong. Being willing to be vulnerable, to be empathetic, to say, I don't really have the answer to you, it's certainly, to me, and maybe in my career, worked best. Maybe that's a female thing too. I think female leaders certainly tend to be more comfortable in that authentic, empathetic role. And I suppose I'm no different. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a lot of what I was getting at. In reality, our society, our systems, our organizations, everything we do is built on this theory of norms. And so, a lot of it is unconscious because we've been brought up. If there's tons of evidence out there that proves, you see something over and over, you start to believe, that is the norm. There are some fantastic, again, experiments out there that, walk us through how we've been taught to view the world.
Mhm.
And we've been taught to view the world, frankly, through fairly sexist and very, very obviously racist lenses, because our perspectives are built on what we see every day. Agreed. I think there is a fear factor for sure, but I think probably even stronger is a need to believe that what you're doing is right. If I'm right and if I'm really good, then anything that's different to me might threaten that.
Mhm.
So, if I'm a leader and I believe we do it this way, if I can get everyone to say, yes, you're right, and go along with it, and nobody challenges me, and they're all a lot like me, and, we know our nature is to be attracted, respond to people who are like us. If they're like me, then they don't challenge my rightness. And, again, we've got all kinds of mechanisms by which we socialize people into norms and what they believe, but we've taught people what leaders are like. And, even things like the word strong leader, the idea that we have certain types of people who are leaders and their behaviors conform to certain behavioral norms. I think, therefore, when you challenge that and say, actually, somebody the opposite to you can be just as effective a leader, that's destabilizing. That's, to some degree, that is creating insecurity, in people. So I think there is just that tendency to assume, and frankly, backed up by our socialization, that certain types of leaders are right and everything else is somehow lesser.